Okay, I put these injectors in this bag like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Before I moved from my old shop, I do remember cleaning these, hooking power up to them and spraying like carb cleaner through them or something. So they are clean, they're tore apart. I have the old seal still, but thankfully past me already ordered a new seal kit for these, so we can freshen up these injectors a little bit and get them into the car. And we're starting to make some progress here with this engine, so let's keep her going. Chassis harness kind of just sat in this bag. It's in between the cab and the trunk right now, but it was just sitting here. I just kind of stuffed it back through, but it's been sitting there for the last, I don't know, 4 years. So I think it's finally time we got the new carpet. So, oh my God, there's a screw. Anyway, let me get this in the car. Here it is. Full 240 chassis harness in all its glory. Just vacuumed all this. Anyway. Woohoo. That looks like so much fun. Wow. Okay, I just pulled this off the roof of my car. It sat up there for about 3 years, so yeah, this is the engine harness. I'm gonna have to decipher basically what I did 4 years ago. I started taking this apart and chopping things off I didn't need. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's so dusty. I should have put this in a box or something. Anyway, it's almost time to get this ready, so better take it down and dust it off. The interior is going well, I think. Everything, the harness is located where it needs to be, and some stuff is plugged in. I need to wait until, I think anyway, I get the ECU and everything plugged in, because it will reside here somewheres, and then I can put in the rest of the air conditioning boxes and whatever else. And then over on that side, I think everything's good. I got the fuse box and all the relays tucked away down there as best I could, and yeah, they're mounted, so I think that's good for that. The rest of the chassis harness runs there and up into the trunk. So, and then this is all the head unit stuff. Still looks like a mess, but it's getting there. So I'd love to put the dash in soon. That would be huge, but I need to do carpet first, which I have. So once the wiring is laid out for the floor, then I can lay the carpet in, and I think I'll be good. All right, little update on what's going on. Yeah, this is what's going on. Chassis harness is in here. It's all taped up with the new Tessa tape, which is really nice. Fuse box is here, kind of a mess still. ECU is over there, and that's ran into the engine bay. I was able to label every wire, figured out where everything goes, so that's all good. There's only a couple I have to extend, which is the throttle body ones. So instead of the throttle body being here, OEM, it's now up here. So those wires need to be a little bit longer, but yeah, we're gonna continue working on this, extend those wires, and then rewrap it and get it looking nice. Quick little update. Everything's still looking the same, but fuse box here. I dismantled this from the fuse box itself, the housing. You can see here, and all the little, I don't know what you call these, brackets or cartridges or whatever. I took all the fuses out that I don't need, or I took out the fuses and relays I do need, and they are here now. This is all of them, and I kind of just taped them up just to get some reference of the sizing, and they'll kind of sit somewheres there. And now I'm working on the rest of the harness itself. It's quite long, as you can see. I don't really want to cut this and shorten every single wire that's in here, because that's a massive pain in the ass. So we're just going to bundle it up, zip tie it, and tie it in somewheres there. I was honestly thinking here, kind of just looping it around like this, sort of. Anyway, you get the point. Kind of just looping it around there properly, and then zip tying it so it's nice and tight, and then the dash will hide that. But I do want access to the fuse box, so that's where the dash with the hole comes in. We'll be able to access that. But one other thing I do want to be able to do is take the fuse box out a little bit, at least. Like, if I do want to service this or make any changes to this, I can pull it out through the hole in the dash and kind of have access to the back of it and the rat's nest that is OEM on the back of those fuse boxes. But yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. So I'm working on the bulk of this harness, and you can see I have these wires sticking out. When I taped this up, I didn't really have a game plan on what I was doing. These are all for the headlights and stuff, so I'm going to extend all these wires, these tails coming out, and I will make a separate branch of a harness to run to the front of the car. So that's what all those are for. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to extend it with all this wire here, and yeah, then we can throw in the ECU harness, engine harness, all tied up pretty much, except for this bundle of wires here for the ignition. I still have to do that. There's only a couple wires here I have to extend, which is the throttle body, the two throttle body cables here. Those are the only two I have to extend. The rest should be fine, I think, anyway, for now. So once the fuse box in here is all set up, we will run the ECU harness, get it through, set it up in the engine bay, and yeah, we'll be cooking, man. We'll be the daunting part will be out of the way. All the wiring should be okay, and then we can start throwing fluids in this thing and almost get ready to start it, I guess. I need a diff. I have the diff. I need to weld it, but other than that, we need to throw the drive shaft in, exhaust, and yeah, this thing it's getting there slowly but surely. I'm just paranoid. I just want to make sure I get everything installed correctly and I'm not forgetting anything while the dash is out and while it's all apart and accessible. I don't want to have to regret missing something or needing to go back in after I put it all back together. So I'm taking my time, making sure that I'm doing it properly and efficiently. So yeah, slowly but surely, like I said, we're getting there, but yeah, we're gonna keep trucking away. I kind of had to tear this harness open again after I already tested taped the whole thing, but we had to make some adjustments. Right now, what I am working on is extending the wires for the throttle body that connect into here. This one should be all right. It's right here. It's pretty tight, but it will work. So extending these, got my butt connectors and heat shrink there. So just got to extend these, working from the back to the front. Everything's looking good. It should be pretty tucked, honestly. This will go down and under kind of, so you won't really see too much of it. It will hide under the fuel rail a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna extend these throttle body wires, and that should be pretty much it for the engine bay harness. It's starting to come together. I am working on the transmission harness and I guess alternator as well, connects to this. So the alternator is too short. I'm going to run this harness into the car where the fuse box is, the new placement for the fuse box. There's some plugs in back here that I need to get to. I'm extending just the alternator part of the harness because the rest of it will fit, rather than extending the two main plugs that this has 8 wires in it and this one has only 2. But yeah, the less wires I have to splice, the better. But just wanted to show these little things off. Got on Amazon, OEM style copper crimps, I guess, is what you could call them. They do a really good job of holding the wires together. Wire crimps. These are the ones I'm using for the small wire. It kind of holds both sides of the wire there. You just clamp it in, and it's really strong actually. So I bought a soldering gun, but I tried it and it just didn't really work that well. So sticking to what I know, and these little crimps are pretty sweet. So they're a little bit finicky and tiny to work with, but I've been just using my snips, my strippers here, and just kind of bending the prongs over and clamping the wire. But I'm gonna throw some heat shrink over the top, and it will look pretty factory, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm working on now. I just wanted to show off these little things from Amazon. I think they'll come in handy with the rest of the harness I need to do. Transmission harness complete. We got I don't even know what these 3 sensors are. I couldn't find any schematics online, but near the rear of the trans, that must be like a speed sensor, I'm assuming. And I don't know what these 2 are. And then further down, we got the alternator that I extended, made those wires longer so that these 2 plugging into the fuse box harness have enough length to make it inside the chassis and behind the dash, and then our starter signal. So that's about it. I put this loom on it. I know this stuff is pretty crappy, but this will be mostly under the car, so I want it protected as much as possible. I left these bare just because they're not really going to see. They're going to be inside the chassis. Now that I think of it, this will be on the starter, so I could put some on this, so I might do that. But for the most part, this thing's ready to go in the car. All right, I just want to document this before the blower motor goes back in. This is my absolute mess of wiring job that is tougher than I thought. Well, no, I knew this was going to be tough going into it, relocating the fuse box, but you can see it's just zip tied here. I have the option to kind of pivot it a little bit right now to make room for whatever I need. I've got my harness right here, coiled up and around the brace where the airbag was. I've got this ground I need to hook up and my wires for, you can see down here, this is the colorful one, is for my headlights and all the blinkers and all that stuff going up to the front of the car. These two are for that harness I just finished building for the transmission and the alternator that I just showed you. This is for the blower motor, that goes in after. This stuff is for the chassis, that can kind of go to the side. So it's really not too bad. I have a lot of the wires pushed in that cavity in back here, and back there, the excess harness, and you can see it feeds through this grommet here. This yellow wire is for the signal for the brake reservoir. And this red wire is for my alternator. I had to extend those wires. So that's 8-gauge wire going to the alternator from the fuse box. Up here, you can see the rat's nest that comes from the factory like that underneath the fuse box. I might try to zip tie it up and tidy it a little bit. These are for the blower motor. One of them anyway. I'm not sure what the other one is for, but must have been AC. So yeah, just a little documentation of what this looks like. See if I ever have to reference back or something. But ECU is mounted up, well, it's half mounted. It's zip tied to the side right now, but that's kind of where it's gonna sit. Yeah, that's ready for the blower motor to go back in. That's what we're looking like right now. That's pretty much all the wires I have to run. The only one I'm missing is the battery cable. I have to feed that from the trunk underneath. I'm not sure where it ran. I think through this cavity here, and then down under the carpet, and there's a little hole just in the firewall there that it feeds through to get to the starter. So yeah, that's what's next. Okay, I'm gonna hook power to this and see what happens. No, no. Why? Why are you pissing? No, 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 no.